You seen the title, and this is no stretch.
This video has been brought to you by Game.
Okay. I got a chance to play Wildgate, a PvEvP game where you and some friends, or people you've never met before, set out into space in one of many ships. Well, it's just a few right now, but I imagine there will be more. Set out to find the artifact before anyone else does and get through the Wildgate, or blow everyone else up. That's it. That's the gameplay loop. There's more to it. Before I get into this, I need to preface this by saying the game is really, really, really fun. It's really able to capture the immersion of soaring through space with a ragtag crew in search for this holy grail artifact, something reminiscent of like a 90s cartoon. I sunk 2 days into the community playtest and I'm hooked. Oh, by the way, I'm SigSoWavy, your gamer OG, or Unc, or Gramps, or whatever you calling old people these days. I play co-op games and talk about them. So if you're into that, hit the subscribe button, give the video a like, keep me around for a little bit. All right, let's get to it. First, I want to talk about the good. And there's a lot of good. Graphics and animations add to the immersiveness. Being in a fantastical world filled with crazy misadventure, the game really does a good job of encapsulating this feeling of being there and having things to do, being part of something. You feel like the characters that you're using, like it really puts you there, you know? Gameplay. It's smooth and really put together for a playtest. I didn't really run into or hear about any bugs or glitches or anything like that playing the game. Surprisingly, everything worked. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Everything worked. I had an incident where I launched into a match and then all of a sudden nobody was in the match, but I don't think that was a bug. I just think that was like my internet connection, but it only happened once. So, you know, 1 out of the billion times I played the game. Yeah, I'm exaggerating. 1 out of whatever, how many ever times I played the game. It's not bad. Voice lines and the character creation, top notch. Nothing bad to say about it. The game is given like a mid-2010s space movie series vibes with like the 90s cartoon aspect. I don't know how they did that, but I really like it. It's got a good mixture of the quirkiness, nostalgia, whimsy, and just the overall sense of like adventure and, you know, that you felt when watching a really good series or cartoon. PvP moments in the game are amazing. And I say that with a capital A. Skirmishes and multi-ship battles feel impactful. Dueling in and out of other ships literally draws you in because there's so many moving parts. I really like how they did this. Maintaining ammo, fuel, ice, the ship's coolant for the reactor. It's just enough busy work without being a lot of busy work. You can still enjoy the game, you know? You have to maintain your shields, scout for other ships. There's enough to do that you shouldn't be standing around waiting for stuff. The boarding mechanic on the game needs a little work, but we can talk about that later. The art style is amazing. Like, I have no clue where they drew this inspiration from. I remember somebody saying something about a cartoon, but I forget. If you know where they came up with this, just leave it in the comments. Let me know. Wherever they got it from, I'm definitely here for it. Like, I would hearken this back to even like OG Halo days. Just that feeling, that immersion, that ability to take you away to a whole nother world. That's why Halo was good, by the way. Not any of the stuff that y'all be talking about. Now, let's talk about the bad. I can see this game getting repetitive because it is a battle royale at the essence of it. 5 spacecraft battling it out in an arena style map. I can't see there being too much replay without like overload and frustration, unless you just constantly clapping. Let's get back to boarding ships. The win condition of boarding ships seems to be by far the most OP mechanic in the game. It's so overpowered, in fact, it almost makes dogfights seem kind of useless, like staying in the ships and firing at each other. It's almost like, why? I do see the benefit if your ship doesn't have the guns and ammo to compete with another ship that has a lot of shield and way better guns, just take their stuff. And I do like the concept. I think the mechanic is lacking where you can just pass through an enemy shield without a negative effect. Now, I'm not talking about damage or anything, but when you're traveling through an enemy shield, there should be like a slow mechanic or something to prevent them from passing through without a penalty. When you shoot at a shield, it creates a hole in that section of the shield. That should be the point of pass through without having like a penalty added to you. Otherwise, shields are only effective against the ship's cannons. And then you might as well just not worry about it and board the ship anyway. You're going to have a big battle of people passing over to each other's ships and dying. I just feel like right now, with enough people getting experience in the game, it'll turn into a frag fest. Make it an event. If somebody boards your ship, there should be a in-ship internal fight. That's going to do nothing but add to the immersion. Now, I'm one of the people that took advantage of flying over to another person's ship and either stealing their stuff or just one-tapping everybody that's boarding cannons and flying the ship. So I know that balance needs to be adjusted. Otherwise, you make other characters like Sal, for instance, not needed. Boarding other ships right now is extremely safe. And lastly, the one much needed change that needs to be made, and is pretty much the reason for this video, time to kill. The time to kill needs to be extended. I'm not sure what the thought process was on boarding other player vessels, but the time to kill is really short. And when you die, that cooldown is not effective because you just spawn back on your ship and do the process all over again. And the teleport function ensures that there is no risk to boarding a ship and leaving safely. If you extend the time to kill, you create in-ship battle scenarios that just adds to that immersion. It becomes then a struggle to take control of that ship, which I think would be kind of dope, actually. And which brings me to the final section, what I like to call following the wave. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. Just a list of things that have been proven in other games that can work in this game, and just improvements that tend to work. You know, things to keep the player interested in playing. I think the other game that this game tends to model itself after, Sea of Thieves, did a really good job of expanding on PvE moments. So you're not constantly in a fight to either save your ship or collect loot from other ships, which I think they should also add loot that you can collect from other ships, not just taking nodes and guns. I think expanding the PvE segment would extend the life cycle of the game, because there's not just fighting other ships, there's fighting enemies, there's maybe even some lore. That would be awesome. The game just looks really, really good, and the characters are just so like diverse and dynamic and all over the place. I really want to know more about those characters and maybe the universe that I'm in. No, definitely the universe that I'm in. I don't know, maybe create like a safe zone in a form of a pub that you could just walk around, talk to NPCs and other players, and just enrich the game lore-wise. Something like a space hub, I guess. I don't know, maybe I'm asking too much, but sounds pretty dope. I would like to see more teams added to a map. From what I played, 5 just didn't seem like enough. Maybe 7? 7 seems like a good number. It may be pushing on the restrictions of the game, but you know, 20 players on a map with 5 ships. I'm pretty sure the ships have to count as some kind of like player thing. I don't know. In dogfights, I found myself totally just in tune with it, right? But you have those moments where when you're searching for stuff, you don't really find it, right? You don't really see what you're looking for. And, you know, I think adding a couple more ships would, you know, add to the like search part of the game. For most of the matches, either you're like trying to get to the good loot, or like you're running away from a ship that got good loot, or you're chasing down the ship because you got good loot. Yeah, that sums it up pretty much. I've had a couple matches where I've just been stuck with the team looting and then the match is over. Or you don't find any loot and then, you know, you got 2 ships barreling down on you. Yeah, increase the loot too. In those specific instances, it just makes me feel like there's more that can be added to the game to kind of counteract that. I don't know, maybe I'm tripping. I hope you liked the video. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed, give it a like, share it with somebody, move the video around. Nah, you ain't got to do that unless you want to, and I would appreciate it. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. My name is SigSoWavy, your gamer OG, and I'll catch you on the next wave.
Let's go.